Hey folks, this is BestInSlot and welcome back to today's coverage of the brand new Cretaceous Predator Pack coming tomorrow for Jurassic World Evolution 2. In the last video we checked out the fairly exceptional Utah Raptor and we're going to follow that up with the large theropod of the pack, the Tarbosaurus, including the Camp Cretaceous skin. So let's get started, let's check out that release animation. I was waiting for the introduction voiceover and there doesn't seem to be one for some reason. Either way, Tarbosaurus. Now I have not seen Camp Cretaceous Hidden Adventure, so if there are Camp Cretaceous references in its animations and stuff like that, I would not particularly pick up on them. That said, I do know that the Camp Cretaceous Tarbosaurus has a clicking sound that it makes, a really unique clicking sound for a large theropod like this, and I believe I heard it just then during the hatchery exit, so I'm going to play that back, listen out for that clicking sound that the Tarbosaurus makes. I also want to say it was a really cool exit animation in general, them both very cautious and merging together, sniffing the ground, very dramatic with the zoom-ins and stuff like that. Now we've got an unpatterned one here and we've got a fully patterned one over here, as you can see. Looks a bit weird with this colour scheme, to be honest, but that's really my fault more than anyone else's fault. I do like that burst of white over there on the snout. Before we talk too much about the design though, let's release another one, and this is the Camp Cretaceous skin. And I'm really glad we checked that out because that was some unique camera work there, very static in its movement, very sort of unorganic in the way it moved around, meant to obviously represent like a camera sitting against the hatchery, tracking the Tarbosaurus as it emerges, and then the way it lifts its head at the end, almost like it's checking out the camera for itself. Very, very cool, very, very unique. Again, love that a lot. So I'm going to bring up the stats of the Tarbosaurus as it walks around. It's got an appeal of 785, which is a lot lower than the likes of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, a whole lot lower than the T-Rex, more in line with your Allosaurus, your Suchomimus, your dinosaurs like that. It again, like with the Utah Raptor, likes living with scavengers but dislikes other carnivores and the Therizinosaurus, and it needs sand, which is a nice interesting nod to its biome. It has a base dominance of 137, which is only 2 lower than the T-Rex. This and the T-Rex are of course very similar. Now, it's worth saying, I do not love the Camp Cretaceous Tarbosaurus design. I don't like this head shape, this kind of swoop back shape that some people do for Tyrannosaurids. It's not something Frontier does anymore, and I don't think it's ever a really good idea. I think the back is okay. I think it's a little bit too spiky. At the end of the day, this is a Camp Cretaceous design. I do think Frontier have done a really good job of bringing the Camp Cretaceous Tarbosaurus into the game. I'll bring up a little side image here, and they've done the best they can. You can see the colours are a lot more interesting, the shape is a little bit more interesting, it's kind of been thickened up or thinned in certain places to bring it more in line with other dinosaurs in the game. At the end of the day, I think they did the best with what they had available. And I do think it looks a little bit better here in the non-Camp Cretaceous skin, the sort of slightly more subtle skins like this. I think it blends into the game a little bit better like that, and it looks okay. It's kind of cool to just get a new large, angry-looking theropod. This is something we've not had in quite a long time. We had the Utaranus, but Utaranus is fluffy and beautiful and a little bit smaller. This is our first big, large, apex theropod in a very, very long time. Look at his little arms. Fairly standard eating animation there. And yeah, so obviously we'll go through the skins at the end of the video. I'll show you all those in a little bit more detail. There's some pretty cool combinations out there by the looks of things based on the trailer, so I'm excited to see those come to life. But I definitely do think I prefer the Frontier version over the Camp Cretaceous version, which is unsurprising. That tends to be the case. Frontier's skin game has gone up quite a lot over the last couple of years or so. Sleepy Tarbosaurus. Okay, well, it's got a unique animation when it scratches itself at the very least. Rather than the nuzzling along the ground that a lot of the other large theropods do, this one lies back on its side and kicks out the ground, very dog-like in some ways as well, like we saw the Utah raptor. Lies down around the ground, kicks out like that. That's pretty interesting to see. I have been waiting for this social animation for the Tarbo to play for absolutely ages. They seem very, very resistant to social animations, but I think these two are about to engage in it, so let's get to a good position. Although I don't know what's going to happen, and hopefully we're about to see it. There you go. I think that was good enough and clear enough that we can only do it once. If it happens again, I'll show it again, but given how long I've had to wait for it to happen once, I'm not going to bet on that anytime soon. But a nice little one. They go up, they sort of nuzzle each other. A little bit of curiosity there from the approaching ones, kind of checking each other out. And then the one on the right decides, well, maybe I'm not that into this. Let's go ahead and give a little snap at you and scare you off. And just like a bus, as soon as it happens once, it happens again. So the first Tarbosaurus approaches, second one's kind of looking a little bit wary. They get a little close to each other, kind of sniffing each other out, kind of just weighing each other up. Approach Tarbosaurus backs off a little bit. This one's getting a little curious, and then it was like, nah, I'm not into this. It tries to bite it on the snout, just about dodged by the first Tarbosaurus, who looks a little bit sheepish, you know, hunched down to the ground a little bit, and then they go their own separate ways. Not much to say about the drinking animation there, but, you know, nice to get everything included, right? Okay, that's enough niceties. Let's check these things out in combat. First of all, hunting down a goat. Not really combat, is it? Oh, you missed. Good job, buddy. This was your chance on YouTube, and you squandered it. Grabs it up, and then two whips through the air to shatter the bones and juice up the insides of the goat. I'm pretty sure that's what it's aiming for. Nothing particularly special there, but, you know, nice little one. Shows a bit of aggression there with that second whap through the air, you know. We'll get that one more time. Tilts the head down, lifts it up, swings it dramatically through the air, and then up once again. Not bashing it on the ground, but just almost crocodilian, or, you know, lots of creatures in nature just ripping and tearing through the air to make sure it's dead. Lovely stuff. And nice little movement there in the throat as well, where it literally looks like the goat is moving down through the gullet of the dinosaur. That's a really nice little detail there. Again, feels hefty and powerful and aggressive in the way that a dinosaur that looks like this really should. Now it's the turn of the Homolocephaly. Looks like it's the same kill animation. Yeah, it is the same for the Homer as it is for the goat. I say it's always the Homolocephaly. I know it is. I feel terrible, but it's kind of tradition at this point. I don't know how many I've killed in the aid of these videos, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, let's check out the Gallimimus kill, if the Tarbosaurus can ever catch up to it, which seems unlikely at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. You can do it, buddy. Gallimimus, if you could just stand still for the purpose of the YouTube video. There we go. Dive forward, grabs it, and then a little shake to the side. Seems the shaking is going to be a fairly common facet for the Tarbosaurus. Looks like the Parasaur kill is basically the same as all the other large theropods. Runs alongside it, tilts the head over, grabs it by the neck, flips it over. The neck power required for a move like that is it's a pretty unbelievable animation. It always has been, but it is very dramatic and cool at the same time. But nothing new there for the Tarbo. A good chance to see the visual differences here between the Rex and the Tarbo. It's interesting, I've heard a lot of people suggest that if the Tyrannosaurus Rex was designed by the Jurassic World people in 2022, it would probably look like the Tarbosaurus. And the Rex really only looks the way it does because obviously they had a different design philosophy back in 1993. You can see the Rex is probably a little bit bigger. Chunky-wise, I thought the Rex was actually less chunky than it is. I would say they're probably pretty similar in heft as well. The Rex does seem slightly larger than the Tarbosaurus, which is what you would expect. That is the correct sort of sizing for reality, so that's good to see. Looks like the animations are pretty much the same. Not actually seeing the Tarbosaurus animation yet. If you could get in there, buddy. Nope, you're going to run away. That's cool. In the interest of seeing a Tarbosaurus victory, I've unleashed a Mega Tarbosaurus with all the extra stats you can get via the genome editing. It does appear that the animations are all the same, but I'd like to see the kill animation just in case there's any little differences on that one. And looks like it's got the same old animation as you would usually expect. I think changing that large theropod kill would be probably very, very tricky at this point in time, given all the different sizes and stuff like that. But a little bit of a shame, but it is what it is. Well done, Tarbosaurus. Absolutely dominated. God, I wish you were proper. Like, what's this? Why are the teeth sticking out? Curse you, Camp Cretaceous. Right, it's time to finish off now with some human kill animations. Very curious how this one's going to play out. Oh, you've missed. Shame about where it finished, but it's always going to happen. That's pretty cool. It misses that first bite and then rings around the rosies to get back at them. Let's watch that play out again. So watch for how the initial attack misses. The human actually ducks down. The Tarbo walks over the human. The human does a runner. Tarbo turns around, chases them down. Really, again, like with the Utahraptor, really inventive, really unique way of making these dinosaurs. That must be very hard to come up with new ideas, and they keep doing so. And I'm really impressed with these human kill animations, which for me are always the most important ones. They're always the best opportunity to get a little inventive, to mix things up a little bit. Your guests are concerned about lack of shelters. I bet they bloody are. Who wouldn't be? Okay, here we go again in slow motion. You see the Tarbo here just trying to clamp down on this woman, but she's diving to the ground. Doing well, actually, must be said. More survival instinct than most of them. Dives down to the ground. Tarbo instantly, doesn't hesitate though, instantly starts to spin on the spot. She dashes to get up. Tarbo looks at her for a second and then goes in for the kill. Really, really big fan of that. And a nice big whomp through the air before swallowing her whole. That's a strange sentence, but the big through whomp in the air, again, something the Tarbosaurus keeps doing. And down she goes, yummers, as they say in the clubs. Okay, I really like that animation and could probably watch it all day long, but in order to not do that, let's go check out some of the new Tarbosaurus skins. Okay, here we are. So this is the Camp Cretaceous skin. You can tell by the, we've got these darker crimson, almost black sort of stripes down the side. This kind of jagged electromagnetic waveform kind of thing going on there. We've got those pink hues and red hues and a bit of blue and brown over there on the underbelly and around the snout. Then if we go to the standard frontier skins, we now have, I already think that looks better, honestly. We've got Sonoran Desert, we've got Death Valley, Great Sandy Desert, Champlain Valley, Salo del Huesco, Limpopo River, Killeen Mountains, Yukon River, really cool, Svalbard, Amazon Rainforest, Mangrove Forest, and Gambia River Basin. Nice to see so much colour on a large theropod like this. That looks really good, actually. Let's pick something fairly typical for the pattern showcase. Oh, so Rana, you can see what it does here. We've got both red and black kind of moving down the splotchy, very much a typical frontier splotchy sort of pattern. A little burst of it there on the snout as well, a little hook of it under the eyes. We can kind of, there we go. Calcarana really showcases it a lot more. Lots of colour there on the spines as well. Lithobates, Pulcrana, Papyrana, and Pelophylax. Lots of colour in these, which is really cool to see in these large theropods. Yeah, it looks interesting. It's not my favourite patterning, I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I don't think it's on the level of the Utahraptor, or I don't think it's really Frontier's usual quality. It just feels very random and splotchy. It doesn't really feel like there's much rhyme or reason in the patterning. It looks okay. It's not my favourite thing in the world, it must be said. I think it's going to be, this one in particular, I think it's going to be really difficult to make look good. I think by and large, honestly, they might look better unpatterned. I don't say that very often, but I think that might be the case for the Tarbosaurus. That looks good to me, whereas that looks, I don't know, it just doesn't quite work for some reason. I think it's because you can see the pattern's got this kind of stroke on it almost, and then it's darker on the outside, and it's an interesting way of approaching it, and I've done it a few times before, but I always find it makes the dinosaur just look a little bit messy or dirty from a distance. It doesn't sell the pattern as much. I don't like the stroke approach, but I'm sure some of you I don't like the stroke approach. I'm sure some of you at home do, so they can't all be winners for me. I really like this Sonoran Desert one. But let's check out some animations. So this is like the idle animation, same as all the other theropods, right, where it just kind of looks around and sniffs at the air. Yep, we've got a walk, We've got to run. Look at it, what an absolute chunk. Although, as I say, it's not that much chunkier than the Rex. I mean, it's bulkier, the head is thicker, but it's not a huge difference. It sits, and of course, we've got the adorable scratch around the ground, and then kick animation that we get to see again. That I really like. There's some fantastic animations for this thing. Again, the human kill, just like with the Utahraptor, absolutely top level. One of my absolute favorites. It feels like there's more human interaction. With the Utah, we had them falling over. With this one, they managed to dodge the attack and they go to run to escape. Of course, Tarbo's not going to let that happen. And then these really cute ones on the ground as well. Really cool stuff. Okay, that is Tarbosaurus. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. How do you feel about the skins? How do you feel about the animations? And join me in a little bit for the Gigantoraptor. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much as always. Throw me a like down below. Bye-bye.